What's in the Box? Presented by Sure It'll Be Grand.
And welcome back, everybody, to What's on the Box. This time with Andor. David and I are back at it again for this week. Sorry for being a bit late. Half my face was the size of a mountain this week, so we couldn't record. It was an allergic reaction or something. It's fine. I'm not dead yet. But yeah, hello, David.
Hello, and I'm glad to see you are here and able to record today.
And my face is not even that swollen. There's a little bit of a bruise there, you might notice, but
yeah. Slightest, but you look good. You're looking good.
Yeah, compared to what it was.
You definitely had us scared there, I will say.
It was definitely one of those things that we posted and then came back to people like, go to the hospital! And I was like, yeah. I'm grand, I'm breathing, I'm not itchy, it's fine, it's fine. Probably, no, don't take, anyone who's listening to say, you know what, Daniel's right. Don't probably go to the doctor. You know, I don't want, like, podcaster gives out medical advice, kills teenagers. Let's not do this, you know?
We are not medical professionals.
No, absolutely not.
We just take terrible care of ourselves.
Yeah. Look, I was able to walk and talk to a certain degree. I was fine. But again, do not follow me. I am not some sort of health guru at all. But yes, we're back with Andor. And what episode are we on?
This is actually episode 9, so interestingly enough.
3 episodes away.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Wait, I know. We're getting closer and closer to a season 1 wrap-up.
I am looking so forward to actually watching Rogue One again. I was going to watch it today. I went, no, wait till the end of this season, because it just keeps on tapping at something in, like, how Andor's character is being built. But look, we'll go into it. This episode kind of continues with, you know, what happened last week. Andor still in prison. It seems some time has passed. He's very comfortable in his position now. He knows kind of the people who work with him on the table constructing things. They kind of follow his lead to a certain degree. They know who's the weakest link. You know, the old fella who is he was about to retire in 40. Just short of retirement. He's not doing well. He's degrading. We didn't really see that in the other episodes of him, though, did we? Last episode, we didn't really see him doing that too bad.
Previous episode, we didn't see him looking too terrible. You know, it was to see. I think they showed a little bit of reference, right? Of you know, that he was showing a bit of age, right? But not to the degree as this episode shows now that it seems like he's quickly deteriorating.
Yeah.
Right. We are seeing signs of what looks like, you know, he's having memory issues. We see weakness and slowness, not just being of old age. This man is not well.
It's interesting. We still see the story has a lot more Andy Samberg in it. And we kind of are beginning to understand his character more.
You mean Andy Serkis?
Andy Samberg is a very different person.
Oh, yeah. I was about to say, I paused for a moment and think, did I miss this?
No, Andy Serkis. We learn more about his character and how he thinks, because he's not just I am the leader here, you do as I tell, and all this kind of stuff. He kind of understands how Andor thinks now, because he's just like, did you think of this to change the dynamic to make this work? And then Andor's like, oh no, it was him over there. But what we also kind of see is like he still believes he can change. Andy Samberg's character can change the system from within, that there's still a fair path that he can get himself out if he continues doing what he does. But I think this episode has woken him up.
He definitely, as we see as this episode going, like you said, it feels like some a little more time's gone on. I mean, previously they had already said 30 shifts later had already occurred in that one.
Yeah.
There's even so not sure how much more time we'll get into from other things kind of link. It sounds like it's not been terribly too much further along.
No,
but still enough that he's definitely integrated well. Andor is integrated well. He's got things going, but we do see more with Andy Serkis' character, which I had written down and I forgot this. But he he definitely gives that appearance of, at first it's almost like, oh, he is the law almost, right? And you'll do as I say, or I'm going to punish you. But now you're seeing it's not so much that, it's more of, it has more of that feeling of he's trying to keep these guys alive. He's trying to keep them going. You do see a little hint as things go on, and we'll get to later as well, is that he does care. He's just trying to keep them going, keep them alive, get them through this. He actually tries to be that buffer from the Empire and these prisoners almost, right? So it's like, deal with me, and I'll be I'll keep you in line, but I'm being the quote unquote bad guy.
Yeah.
He ultimately is protecting them.
I would say though, he's not like a teddy bear that he cares about people. It's definitely it's when he's really being pushed, when he's really realizing, no, we can't just keep him going for another few days. Because you say, oh, he's fine, he's all right. He only has to get work enough to get out of here. He'll be fine until then.
I think that where I was seeing with that, the reason being is again, he knows how the Empire is going to see this, right?
Yeah.
There, as the episode progresses, we see a little bit more why, but I think that's why I say he's doing it comes across, he's pushing, but he does care in the sense he knows what the ultimate badness is. He is very much aware about what the Empire is really doing in this facility. Yeah. So he is trying to protect him and be like, no, come on, you can do this. And it's not sounding encouraging. It's more, no, you can do this. Hey, let's go. That dad almost, thing going on. But that's ultimately it's because there is
some grace in him. Yeah, that's fair to say. I would just say it's under a lot of layers of still being a terrible cunt.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He plays so beautifully.
Yeah,
I love it.
Honestly, I like when Andy Serkis gets a bit more meaty characters, because he is so good at like psychological acting.
Oh, very much so. He's great in it comes from his background, right? Because he needs to use his voice and his facial expressions with having done so much with voice and motion capture.
Yeah.
And when he puts it together in proper live action in that, man, he starts coming through as quite a character, right? Quite a force of a character that you can't help but gravitate towards.
We'll talk about that on the final scene with him and Andor and how they react to each other.
Mm-hmm.
But something is amiss at the prison, isn't there? Because they line up for a moment, and the lights go off.
Right. As we start seeing, we finally are seeing more going on in this prison. Right. There's things amiss. Yeah. We see that in the let's back up for a moment. In that, already Andor is, you can see,
figuring out the prison.
Plotting. He's figuring out the prison. He's plotting his escape with the others. Even right. We do see that they do the new prisoner, load up, right, and make everybody stop. Yeah. You see him and is talking with the other prisoner, whose name I forgot to write down. I forgot which one he was talking to.
I think he's actually in one of the prisoners. Is actually in Rogue One as well. He's part of the rebellion.
Is he one of the additional ones? Because I know there already is with Melshi. Melshi is already in Rogue One, but this other one I gotta look. That was one of the reasons of you mentioned before we started wanting to watch Rogue One again. This is really making me want to watch Rogue One again, because I want to see if I'm picking up on any others. But it shows he is plotting his escape, right, and others as well.
This is an interesting thing about the floors and electricity, because the new prisoner gets knocked down to the ground, but
he's actually physically down to the ground,
physically, not electrocuted. Especially when he's holding the pole, they won't electrocute him. So obviously there is some conductivity thing going on there. They did. Maybe there'd be a danger for everyone involved. No electricity on the lift as it goes up and down either.
Right. Which I think would probably be difficult to do. I would think in a real situation, would be difficult. So that makes sense. They're plotting through and seeing where are these weaknesses and where are they not doing things. So he's taking note of that upper level there isn't the electricity, or they won't run it if when the new inmates come through like that. I thought it was interesting. We see as well whether this is going to lead to anything or not, in that he goes, Andor before this unleashes, he goes over and he takes a bathroom break, quote unquote, and we see he pops open a panel and starts sawing through pipes.
Yes.
What's he doing?
Yeah.
What's going on there? And it was kind of amusing me because he barely puts the panel back before the alert goes off. Oh, new prisoner on deck. It's like, nobody's going to notice. Are they really showing how little the guards are coming down and checking things out? That they are that? Is that really showing how confident they are in the whole rest of the system of electrocuting people, and in that they think the whole facility is secure enough that you really don't need to care about it. It's causing them. It's maybe, is that linking towards kind of what was already brought up by Cyril and about things, how people get lax, they don't care, they're not enforcing things, so there's that lax split going on because they're relying on all the other stuff.
I find it very interesting that they're also hiding the older man's injuries, basically putting them so when everyone gets up to kind of salute or put their hands up or wherever, he's hidden behind as other teams have been electrocuted down or sounded down. It's still not. I'm not 100% sure it's electricity that's really taking them down. It's some other sort of
thing. It's hard to tell.
Yeah.
It's something of that nature that we are to assume. And again, showing when the Empire looks and sees somebody in this facility, if there's weakness in it, they're just you're dead, literally. So they are trying to help. It is showing a interesting thing about the team that Andor's on, right? They seem to, while obviously they have their own self-interest at heart, absolutely, because if they fall behind, the whole team gets affected. It does seem like there is that little more, especially with the older man, that they are trying to protect him as well, not just themselves, but they know what this means as well for him if he's seen as weak.
And that seems to be a battle as well, a battle kind of for their humanity. Don't want to get too philosophical about this, but it's genuinely something that is keeping them, mentally straight. Because, we saw in the prison cells when one of the guys committed suicide jumping onto the floor in the middle of the night, and there's so many prisoners who don't care anymore because they're competing with him. It's just, he's going to smell all night. There's no sympathy. But this group is doing compassion because they don't want to be grounded down by the system completely. Not because of some magical virtue. To a certain degree, of course, there's, you care about people, but more about, no, as long as I don't think like them, I'm not in the system. I can still think freely. So use everything you can. If that includes compassion, you use it,
Mm-hmm.
So I like that kind of
that was something that I was liking about, because I figured it was going to be the whole you're bringing the team down, but they seemed to give a tone without saying it. It felt like this was more compassion. There's that touch of compassion going on in this team, and makes them unique. So which is good with what this is the team Andor's with, means probably get some help here in escaping, or they will figure some stuff out. But that does lead to go ahead.
I was just going to say, we see how well the Empire organizes stuff. We also find out how bad the Empire is at organizing things by a clerical error, I guess.
Is it by clerical error?
It seems like it was, definitely. Let's explain. Let's talk about what happened. So basically, was it the second floor or something along the lines of that? There was a major issue because someone was kicked out of the prison, as in they were allowed to go, but then they were brought back into another room, wasn't it? Another floor.
So here's this is where, I think we kind of need to condense things, because this kind of gets talked about throughout the episode until we finally get the final information. What we see is that in the midst of they're being taken back to their prison cells, that they're just stopped. Everybody is at a standstill. Something's going on. This doesn't take this long to process and get folks back. They realize there's something going on, and then alarms go off. shouting. People, they can see through those tubes. They can see through the other side. Somebody's sign languaging.
They're speaking too fast.
And they just can't figure out. They're like, well, something about level 2. Something about level 2 is happening, or level 4. I can't remember which way, but they're talking about there's something going on. And then, okay, now the suddenly power blips, and then which never a good thing. In a facility that seems to be zapping people, power suddenly blipping like that seems to indicate
or entire floor. Yeah,
it seemed like a problem. And then suddenly, back to their cells. So they're left wondering what happened. What happened?
Yeah.
What happened? Where we eventually learn, and we will get to why they learned this, but where they learned that an entire floor was actually wiped out because somebody was released, and then they were found on a separate floor. What I gathered from that is more of it's showing this place ain't just a prison. This is not a temp prison. This isn't that, you get your credit time, you serve your time, and you're let go. I get the feeling that's why they said they found him on it was realized he was on a different floor. Is that, remember, that everybody's kept separate. You don't see each other. I got the impression that meant, sure, they made it look like, he's been released, see? And then they brought him down to the other floor.
I mean,
basically treat him like a new prison there.
Let's face it as it is. Arbeit macht frei. Work makes free. And I'm going to be honest, at the end of the episode, when we'll do a little bit of spoiler on that, when Andy Serkis's face kind of dropped, when he suddenly got the realization, I was just like, this isn't just a working camp. It's basically, the working camps in Germany. It's the working camps that were in America for the Japanese. It's
exactly, well, again, why that reference, right? In the previous episode, the shower scene. Right?
Yeah.
What was that exactly like? The Nazi concentration camps for the Jews. This is exactly the same thing. And that's what we're realizing, is that this is a full-on concentration camp. You are not getting out of here.
No.
This is there is no real time. There's no real time of serving a sentence and you're going to be out. This is a serious place.
The only problem I have with this is that they leave this episode going, how many guards are there on each floor? 12 at most. And we get the impression that, they're just going to overwhelm and fight or something like that, right? And I feel it kind of leaves a bit of an icky shadow of what happened in real life. You know what I mean? Like, are we now saying that those people just didn't fight hard enough in real life? Maybe I'm being a bit nitpicky, but it really kind of went, I get it, but I'm also like, ooh.
Well, I think it depends how you take it, right? Because as we're seeing, and they are showing, is that there's a lot of psychological attack that goes on, right? That's what you do to beat down people, right? Right? Because ultimately, you could actually a lot of the situation in prisons in general, or in things like that in general, is that actually huge enough, because you do have more people than the guard. You don't have equal amount of guards or more guards than the prisoners. No. There's actually quite fewer, but you're using other measures. You're using certain physical measures, then you're using certain attacks. You're also using most of the time in a darker sense, is that you are using psychological control, and
for example,
not letting people think that they can even escape, or that it's even possible. And it's like, no, or that if you even try, you make people be set as examples, right? Much like what they just did, zapped everybody and killed them if you try doing anything.
Or
there's a good example.
Prisoners govern other prisoners. Again,
you've given power.
Fake power completely, but power nonetheless.
Right.
Yeah. I definitely psychology. It's just like, I had a moment of thought there where it's just like, oh, I'm not sure I'm 100% okay with this. I get that. Look, we all knew this wasn't a good prison. We all knew this is a working camp that we've seen throughout history, most notably in Germany. but now that they brought it up to, I don't want to call it a Holocaust because there isn't a race of people being erased here. Now, of course, the Holocaust included more than just Jewish people. It was anyone that, well, I suppose in that regard, then yes, it was anyone that, I guess this is a prison where everyone, well, sorry, I'm just walking in circles here because the Empire's not just picking up people that it doesn't like and throwing in here, it just picks up anyone it can.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone who's just not part of the central systems and who's just like swanning around or maybe running around a bit, yeah, let's throw them in for 6 years. Like, that's what's going on.
Yeah, they're just flexing power.
Yeah. I'm not even sure it's a flex of power. I think it's just all right, let's just group a few people here. We need them to be thrown in here.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't think there is as much of the hate and just diabolical evil that Nazi Germany had for Jewish people and LGBT people. And so many disabled people. Just a
everything
horrible thing. But the Empire's not really that. The Empire's indifferent to people,
right? And which is worse, right? Because in this case, it and not to get into which is where it's making it interesting though to look at, because we are seeing that the Empire, it's basically the Empire don't give a you know what.
No.
So it's affecting everybody.
Yeah.
Right? Everybody is affected by this.
Unless the Empire likes you, unless you're part of or not even likes you, it's more like unless you have connections in the Empire and they do things for you, you're fucked. You know? Yeah. The show is certainly getting heavier and heavier and heavier. This one I think was pretty heavy with what it was showing, right? Yeah.
Because the prison, you are feeling it. I think that's what's what I'm finding interesting is that you feel like you're there. You're feeling you're getting the emotional hit out of it.
Exactly. And I just want to say, when I'm saying I'm feeling a bit icky about them making the comparison necessarily, like that's not necessarily a bad thing either. Like, it's a reaction. It's a feeling. They might not even go down that obvious route. There might be other elements involved. So I'm not saying, oh my God, they're taking the piss out of the Holocaust. No, God, no. But yeah.
I feel like they are just using very real world examples.
Yeah, but that can be dangerous. That can lead to some scenes being put over. But again, that's the point of art, isn't it? It's meant to emote, as long as it's not done poorly, or done as a laugh in most cases.
Exactly, right. So again, it's for me, it's adding to it. It's adding some more interest of things. As I said, now we are truly seeing the darker side of the Empire as a whole, I think, versus previously where we saw, there's the Empire. It's, even at the lower levels, it's just stormtroopers and Imperial officers who are just, gun wielding whatever and just think, rebel scum. And, our fears were more with the Sith and with Vader and, and Palpatine and, oh my gosh, the evil is there. And really finding that, man, it's this goes way deeper. And here's the level that is faced on to the everyday man.
These are like the cold turning cogs of the Empire. They're just crushing and turning and crushing and turning. And there is nothing at the bottom who they're attacking that can change anything. It has to be a thing that rises above. And I know they've talked about this in the shows, like, no one expects an attack from below. But I think that was maybe a naive look at things at this stage. It's not just an attack from below, because we need attacks from above as well. And this is why we have Mon Mothma.
Right. Which as we are seeing here, we get a little bit more insight with Mon Mothma slowly trying to work things through, and giving again the insight about how the Senate still is at this point where
it's disgusting. It's actually
yeah.
rotten to the core.
Yep. We see that during we see her talking to of a imperial overreach. She's giving a speech, and most people, you just hear these long live the empire scream, shouts, and there's a few whispers of let her speak, let's listen to her, but it's mostly drowned out with this raw of the empire, and everybody's just ignoring her.
I liked a visual element. It's the little bubble ship things they have, I guess. I don't know what you call them. Them slowly turning off here and there, they slowly had the light just turn off. And to me, at least, it was like, as we know what's soon to come, the disintegration of the Senate. Slowly things dying and people staying quiet and only hearing about the big populist voice shouting it's arse off, while there's just this last... I mean, we don't see anyone else in the Senate. Maybe they are good senators. God, I sound like Trump just then. But they sound the worst senators. That's what they do. But they are not really good voices there.
Right. I think you're very right. There was a very visual element with the lights being turned off. I was noticing that too, and just the emptiness we see, right? Versus before, where when the Senate was even it was going with the Republic, we saw all of them filled, right? Everybody at least cheery, not cheery, voices. There was passion towards the Senate. There was involvement in the Senate.
And she mentions this. She talks about the Senate being like coming to church. This is a sacred religious place to be at, to talk and work for the people. She says, we have to remember how sacred this is. Why are you not doing this? And all you hear is slogans like "Long live the Empire." It means nothing. It's like going to a sports match at this stage. Just people shouting who they like and not really thinking about things anymore. No offense to people it's very emotional, I understand.
But exactly.
Yeah. But I'm coming from the Senate is dead at this stage. And by God, fair play to her. She's trying to keep it up. She's still trying to make a point. Maybe at this stage she's using it as a distraction so that people think she's still just a senator, but
it's I like how they're showing this. It is making a lot more. It's making a lot of sense. We are seeing the death of the Senate, right? Where we knew that progress. Where New Hope, we knew it was disbanded at the start. There, he was like, Senate's no more. We officially disbanded it. It was like, well, it's to see basically how quickly that did happen. Well, how slowly and quickly that did happen, right? Yeah. Because this is still
for a giant galaxy. It is fast. It's very fast for a giant galaxy-sized Senate to fall down to this in 15 years?
15 years, roughly. Yeah, we're talking probably.
Yeah.
A dozen, 15 years. So yeah, it makes sense, but it is fast. But we are seeing that this is the stage it's at. It's bringing it to life, right? It is now no longer just we talked about it happening. We are seeing this happen.
Yeah,
and it hits. It hits a little too real as well.
Yeah,
certainly, but it's very real.
I think a big element of the scene is also how many, I guess, empty seats there were. There is an apathy to it.
There's no participation.
They're probably good senators like Mothma, who've just decided to, hey, I'm not leaving my system. I'm staying in my system. There's no point in me going to the Senate. I'm going to try and help my people here, but the Senate is dead.
Some of it, how much was from, the Empire as they, take care of those who, or take out rather those that were disagreeing a little too vocally.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
You let some, but hence the empty seats is that how many just like you said went back to just try to care for the local systems. How many just this is all BS, I'm out, and then how many they're empty because they've got they took care of them.
I mean,
so to speak.
You could argue this. The only reason Mon has not disappeared is because she still speaks loudly in the Senate. And if she did suddenly disappear, that would be noticeable.
Right. Well, she's insofar as well, she's treading carefully and correctly in that she's being just loud enough.
Yeah.
Right. Just loud enough, but and say, oh, but about this, and the Empire is overreaching, but not to the point visibly of like causing an uprising, causing a stir to enough. She's just being that little thorn in the side, but it's like, it's okay, let them feel important, let people feel important, and it's whatever,
Yeah,
so
there's no talk about like, let's take down the Emperor or anything like that, but
right. or anything that could massively shift their plan, right? Because as is even, it's kind of thrown out there, even that did in the grand scheme of things in the stories, is Palpatine somewhat fueling in a way some of the rebellion intentionally, because you kind of need something going on so that you can have reason for the Empire clamping down further. You need a bad guy, right? Quote, quote, a bad guy for the other side. So having something like this to help kind of fuel it, actually helps his agenda.
Oh, it does.
Well.
I mean, definitely the news about it. He's fueling that. He's making the news show this off more and more, because it does give him power. It gave him power with the prisons to just like, keep people here. And you say, what do you mean power over who? Because he could have just ordered that anyway. But I would say there is a limit to how many heinous things he could order before workers at the bottom, soldiers, will go, whoa, hold on now. Wait, this is going a bit far. So he has to take advantage of the moments. Because if he doesn't, he's going to create a rebellion of his own within his house. He needs to keep everyone frightened with genuine fear. Well, genuine fear. Fear that he can take from actual events. I find that interesting. But so Mom Mothman doesn't have the best work life, but she doesn't have the best home life either, as we continue to see. Once she heads home because she heard a cousin is back in town.
Yes.
And her daughter just being like, with a new dress, being delighted, and says, Daddy lets me wear anything. And she just kind of goes off to get dressed. And we see that rebellion is kind of in the family.
Yes, we finally see that, yes, Cousin Vel is indeed the Vel we know from who brought Andor in, or who got Andor onto the planet.
It was an interesting take to actually see the family relation. But we kind of get the impression, I've been out and about and saying, are you heading home? Are you going to see your parents? And she was, of course. I think if she does head home, she might be the one to actually sort out or find out about the finances of what's really going on, because I think her old buddy that we met in the last few episodes may be messing her about just a tiny bit on the cash, but that's just a prediction anyway.
Right. We see in this episode how she later on talks with Tay.
Yeah.
And he mentions that he's going over the finances, and there's problems with the money, and especially there's problems with the we call it how it all looks, because she has not been very careful with pulling the money so far. It's too obvious. And so now kind of scaring her with the whole, there's 400,000 credits that you need to account for here. If somebody were to do an audit, how would you explain it? So we might need to, he throws out a name that sounds like she's, makes her go, he's sleazy, he's a thug. This is basically, we're trying to talk with loan sharks here almost to try to hide this. And so it does. I'm getting a little bit of even more of this. Is he really on her side? Is he really out for her best interests? Is there something else here that it's setting up to try to mess things up for her or set her up for a greater downfall, or try to.
Yeah.
Right.
Because the thing we have to remember again, yes, there are rebellions. Yes, we know there's many people in rebellions, but it's not one rebellion yet. And everyone has different wants and needs of what's going on right now. So again, I think that line of everyone has their own personal rebellion is showing the darker side of it now. This is not anymore about, oh yeah, we're all fighting for the same thing, and we all have our own personal feelings that brought us into the rebellion. It's like, yes, this is true, but now we also learn, like, yeah, but everyone is rebelling for something different as well. Like, they want something. Like, this is really interesting. Like, I wouldn't mind if we had a spiritual sequel to Andor, which was set just after the fall of the Empire, after the Rebels won, and see how that political structure was built with Leia. Of course, I understand, we sadly can't have Leia in it anymore. But there's other, it doesn't have to have Leia as a lead. And we could have her, we can do some CGI. I think we already have, haven't we?
Well, it would be, it's one of those, obviously it takes more than one person. So you could easily start, well, not easily, but have it make sense. And yeah, be able to show the inner workings of how all this has changed, because you're going to need that layer. You're going to need layers and more people than just our main heroes before.
Here's the thing. We have recast Leia already. The little girl Leia, granted. Mm-hmm. And this Leia would be closer to Leia we knew from the original trilogy, but would it be beyond evil to recast some of these roles? I mean, I know, with Luke, like,
I feel like they're too stuck on the deep fake look right now.
Yeah,
because we're still talking the same.
But Mark Hamill's always
same people are making this stuff right now, right? I wouldn't be totally against, but I think, remember, they've already made that comment. Oh, recasting was a bad idea, and that's why Solo didn't work.
But
right?
That was because they hired someone who couldn't act. Oh, sorry. No, look, the guy actually had acting sessions. No offense to him, but he had acting sessions throughout the movie. There were issues. I'm not going to go on the whole Solo hate, because I know people. I think you enjoyed it, actually, didn't you?
Yeah, but fairly, yeah. Oh no, yeah. It's one of my favorite movies, but it's just because I think that my side reason is just because it was one that I was just able to be like, I didn't need to care. I just needed to watch and enjoy my Star Wars-ness.
It was the most Indiana Jones of Star Wars movies.
Exactly. So that's why I think that's why it's one of my favorites. Yeah. But it definitely it's not. We will say it's not Oscar winning.
Yeah, it's not acting masterclass stuff.
But it was still fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I'm very mixed about it because they've already shown they actually had a fair bit with with Luke, right? When we had Book of Boba Fett and had that episode, with Luke there and or was it Book of it was Book of Boba Fett, yeah. Our Mandalorian season 2.5, showing him with little Baby Yoda with Grogu, that they were going heavier and heavier now with showing. So I think they're trying to use that as one of their how to push the technology. And I get the feeling this is one of the technologies they're wanting to pursue more and more.
I mean, we've seen it most recently with Vader's voice actor, James Earl Jones. He's retiring now. And fair play to him. The man has put in his work. But he has made a deal with Disney and signed everything up to have his voice be duplicated artificially to beat Darth Vader. So that even though he gets a little bit of the money each time they use him and all that kind of stuff. And I think in that, there is a difference between duplicating audio and duplicating visuals. Of course there are. Yeah. Especially because, not to be too harsh on people who are very protective of James Earl Jones, which it should be. He's a fantastic actor and what a voice. But the big part about Darth Vader's voice is that it's through like a million modulators as well. There is an artificial note to it.
Exactly. Right.
Yeah. So
So,
Oh, like, I don't know. I'm not as averse to them recasting. I understand why some people are. I prefer to have an actor who can really act rather than a stand-in that is copying someone's face, you know?
agreed. You've got. I think I would be the same thing. Of I'd rather we see a proper recast done. If you want to try to make them look more, use some makeup and a little bit of prosthetics, whatever, to make those tweaks, or if you want to use a little bit of facial tweaks, slight tweaks, right? But not full on deep fake, right? Because you do lose some of the the acting.
I think we kind of sort of not really got away with Luke. Don't get me wrong, I think they did a better job with Luke once it was actually when he properly appeared for scenes. But the only reason they kind of got away with that is because Luke at Return of the Jedi, he's gone very emotionless in general, and he's quite reserved. So when you're making a character then who has to speak with a computer voice, yeah, it kind of makes sense. And why his face doesn't react as much, he's just in deep, tranquil thoughts. But Princess Leia,
exactly. Princess Leia, she ain't gonna be quiet, stoic.
Yeah. But look, let's be real. This year, AI facial things has been a blast. It's been a huge uptake. I can only imagine what's going to happen in the next 5 years. Maybe in 5 years, we'll be allowed to have an actor who can purely act their part, and then their face and the voice actually gets synthesized along with the original actors. And the biggest problem right now, at least with the audio stuff, is that emotions don't really track over that well.
Exactly. There's still that lack of certain inflections, certain of emotion. You're saying the words, and maybe they are raising their voice, but they're not really.
Yeah.
There's emotion.
You can stretch out. Yeah, you can stretch out. Certain letters to make it feel more, impactful. But there's a certain je ne sais quoi to being human. We're humans. We're very, very good at identifying other humans. We're quite brilliant at it. So, not to say that the Luke they made for Book of Boba Fett, wasn't it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Because they only did a little bit of Mandalorian, but Book of Boba Fett where we find out more actual interaction.
Mind you, that's in Book of Boba Fett might as well just been Mandalorian saying hello to Boba Fett. Let's where.
Well, that's why I say it's literally Mandalorian season 2.5.
It really is, and I feel like people have to watch it before the next season comes around because it makes no sense to anyone who's skipped it.
Yeah.
But I still think it's a technological huge step forward. It is. It's pretty stunning. We see a younger Luke Skywalker, and for the most part, yes, I understand that's just a very fancy human puppet up there, right? But I was giddy. I know you were.
Yeah. It was still done well enough. It still worked, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't offensive feeling, or at least to me as a fan. I wasn't offended by it. I was giddy with it. It was exciting. It was I think the way it was done, it was well used. It was used, I should say, properly, right? Yeah. And it looks good enough that it worked, and it was exciting, fun. And it felt like, this added to the story. It worked.
Yeah, but then again, would you want a movie of this? Or a long series of this character come back again and again and again, especially in a new Senate with Princess Leia having to fight her corner, all her expression, Carrie Fisher's acting, and you want to synthesize that? I would rather have get a new actress in that does a play on Carrie Fisher's Princess Leia and then does her own thing, which is fine. Sorry, I'm just going to go on a rant here. We have this thing, right, because we're so television minded, this idea of recasting is seen as horror. But if you go to theatre, you will always have different actors playing the same old roles all the bloody damn time, and nobody blinks at it. So, fair enough. If it's like, I know people are giving out now about The Witcher and the recasting of that. Let's not even go there. But like, I get that there's a short time in between seasons. Actors changes a little bit. Oh, this takes you out a little bit. That's fair. But God bless Carrie Fisher. Her role as Princess Leia back in the day, like old school Princess Leia. It's been a few years.
That's, I think, and that's the key difference. Actually, that's a great example, a comparative example, right? Because, like you say, on stage, occurs, and they have their X amount of seasons run, and then it's somebody else takes up the mantle, right, to keep the show running. TV and films always has been different, right? Unless you don't generally recast, unless it is something an age difference that has occurred, right? Where it is that we are doing the prequel, and so we need a younger version to do them, or it is a pure the actor died in the midst of the series and we've got to recast them because we need this character. But the difference here would be, I would be okay with recasting as well, because again, if the character is supposed to be, if Princess Leia is supposed to be such a main, if it would to be a story with Princess Leia being, even if not the main character, but a focused character, one of the main ones, you need just let us focus on the story. Otherwise, I'm going to be focused on the CGI. I'm going to be focused on that. I'm going to be distracted from the story.
Yeah.
And one of the differences of why I think it would be acceptable as well, or why it adds to the I'm okay with it, is exactly what you touched upon. It's been a while. Not besides the fact of Carrie Fisher passed away, so it's impossible to get her. But it's that it's been a while. It's okay. It's okay. It's you can do it respectfully. The difference of, like, say, why people are upset with The Witcher, it's because you've got Henry Cavill's huge following and everybody just loves him. But I think it was added because of the fact of it's only in TV, especially like if there's only a few seasons, and then all of a sudden you change it. That's not enough to that people are just, in a way, they've gotten used to it. It's still fresh to them.
Yeah.
And to now suddenly change it, it's not the same. Whether or not you like the next actor or not.
Yeah. We'll just say
weird.
A lot of people give out about the recasting The Witcher. You weren't too happy with the original casting either until you saw him in a few episodes, so maybe chill a little bit. Just saying. Just gonna put that out there.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I don't have any like personal interest in it. And I've only seen, I need to actually watch The Witcher. I've only seen clips and such, so I haven't. So I just think I'm more amused about the difference in The Witcher. So I'm just more of making fun of it just for the sake of it's fun to take the piss out. Yeah. But
so I guess the big thing we could go on. Yeah, I think the thing. I think the main thing we get away from this is that recasting is not a dirty word, especially because I didn't know Carrie Fisher. I was not blessed with that. I only know her through tweets and videos and comedy stuff she's done and movies she's done, and listen to her autobiography. That doesn't mean I know her. It means I know a version of her that she presented, right? That's the deal. But I was saying this last season about Little Princess Leia. I could just imagine if Carrie Fisher was still alive, she would physically assassinate anyone who said anything about that little girl. And I imagine that's how Carrie Fisher would feel about anyone who took on the role as well, no matter the age. Like, especially as a younger version of her, like, could you imagine her? There'd just be a tornado of tweets flying towards anyone who'd even try to badmouth her,
Exactly. Yeah. Oh, yeah. She would absolutely, like I said, never knew her personally, but from what she gave out there, I could absolutely see her loving the little Leia character. And anybody who said anything bad would just be assassinated in words. And then in this case, if they wanted to actually say, hey, we need to recast, we want to recast, we don't want to do digital, we want to recast for this age range of Leia, and that, I would see her more being worried just about the typical, because of what she went through in Hollywood in general.
Yeah.
But for anybody to be like against this, to try attacking the character, the actress themselves, she'd probably just absolutely rip them a new one.
And
So
to talk about her brother, well, not brother, but Mark Hamill. Mark Hamill has said plenty of times in the past, he doesn't mind about recasting Luke Skywalker. He just makes complete sense. He wants this role to go on beyond him. Like, he's not possessive of it. I'm not sure how. I don't think Harrison Ford gives a shit about Han Solo.
no way he gives a shit.
But yeah, I don't think
he does.
I don't think Princess Leia would be that protective of who would present her. I think she'd probably have issues maybe with Hollywood and, like you said, how what kind of story was being made and all that kind of stuff. But outside of that, she seemed like a reasonable person. So I'd say she was just like, she'd probably make a remark like, getting a younger person. But like, I don't know. Again, right. I don't know her. Maybe she would be completely against this. Maybe there's quotes out there, and if you find them, please tell me. Like, in fact, if she was completely against it, I would probably go like, okay, let's maybe not recast.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think we kind of, that was a good tangent, actually. Yeah. That was a really good, but yeah, I mean, now it does make me, I agree with though. I do want to see the post Return of the Jedi Senate rebuild that would occur of the Republic, right? The return of it. How Absolutely. Would they? What would be happening? And that, I'm sure Disney probably is working on that. That probably is one of the stories spinning around. They're trying to figure out what could be an interesting thing we can do.
Because we didn't really see them.
I would not be surprised.
We didn't really see them in Force Awakens. The only thing we really know is that Leia was like high up in there, and then they found out that she was and like not even that's. I think just politically speaking, she was quite high up. And then she got kicked out because people found out Darth Vader was her father. And that was a rumor that went around, and suddenly she lost her position. And clearly we know she was very busy in her work, because there is that whole motif of Kylo basically not having parents around and being sent up to Uncle Luke to get stabbed for some reason. I actually defend that scene, but I understand why people don't like the scene of Luke trying to attack Kylo. But, that's another thing. But yeah, okay. So let's go back to Andor. Because there's a little bit left. Our favorite weirdo boy is stalking... what's her name? Deidre. Yeah, he's like, honestly, I was just thinking, you did remember Ted Bundy, didn't you? There's a little bit of that there.
Oh my gosh, I get the actor who plays Cyril, man. He in this role and adds this character. It's definitely like, man, that's the next Netflix movie. He can be the next whomever serial killer we need to have a show on. Man, he can do it because he possesses that like robotic, dead behind the eyes, just a little bit of psycho going on.
And also the way he says this, like, instead of saying like interrogation, the conversation we've had, it's just like, dude, what's the conversation? And like, because she gave him like a crumb of, hey, good job, he's like, I shall inseminate her. Like, he's straight on there. Like, he's being like, how much more of a murderer can this guy be? Like first of all, at first I thought there might actually be some benevolency that will eventually come out of him. Not anymore. That's gone. That ship has sailed. But he has an overbearing mother who goes through his secret stash, who she's constantly talking about how your hair is this way, your hair's that way. She keeps deflecting any kind of critique he gives her, and then he tracks her down, and it's just like, you are the only one who cared.
Exactly. This is the making. This is the making of a serial killer. This is exactly what they're showing. Yeah, the crazy mother, overbearing mother, right? Over controlling. And so he doesn't know how to relate to women at all. And this is his view. His view. And then this one woman who finally showing, it's only because to him it's like, oh, she showed compassion because she agreed with this idea of trying to find casting and about all this stuff. But it's business, But no, to him, it's even more. It's like, man, this guy has severed Ewok heads in his fridge, Like, this guy. I'm with as dark as this show has been touching on. Are we going to have the like final episode, or have an episode that we do where it's like we're back with Cyril again at home, and we're going, I wonder where his mom is, and he opens the fridge and there's just her head, you know, or she's frozen in carbonite somewhere. Like, are we going to get that? Like, and somebody comes to the door and asks where she is, and he just goes, "Oh, she's just held up right now," and it's like in a just completely blank, you know, no emotion voice, and you're just gonna be like, oh my god, we now have Star Wars Ted Bundy, Honestly, Star Wars Dahmer.
I'm trying to think of what would be the darkest thing, and I think it would just be someone very high up noticing what he's been doing all this time and valuing it, and him being brought into a proper position of the Empire while having those fucked up tendencies. Like, he was like, you know, just an assistant to the Emperor. You know,
well, I want to know. They didn't explicitly say, as we heard, and one of the reasons why he went to Deidre is he thought she was responsible for. He said he got a promotion.
Yes.
But they didn't say what was he promoted to. He just said he got a promotion.
Yeah.
So what is, you know? So he is being put into something a little bit more than just that. Yeah. You know,
they do is like, he's a clean bill of health. That'll be enough. All right, go on. You know. Oh no, but there is this. Like this episode has turned very much me, and I feel so stupid now because you see all the overbearing mother thing, the neatness and tightness of clothing. They like before it's like, oh, he's a bit of a weirdo. Now it's like, oh no.
Yeah, I exactly, like, yeah, until this episode, yeah, I definitely with him stalking Deidre like that completely made me just go, oh, Star Wars, what are you doing? Oh gosh.
She's going to use him though. She's going to use him.
Oh,
100%.
She's going to. Oh yeah, absolutely. I feel like that is. But I want to know what are they doing? How grim are we getting here? Because we're setting up serial killer vibes so strongly.
Because he jumped that kind of as a crush, then go up to like simp, like, oh, this woman's amazing, to like, you are mine. You know?
Yeah.
Like we didn't even go for the simp face. There was no him looking at pictures going, oh, I like her. No, it's like, delicious. You know?
Exactly. I was like, it escalated so fast in the few words he spoke. At first I was like, oh, okay, he is, because finally he just thinks, oh yeah, she probably did this for him, whatever. And then just, yeah, all of a sudden he's like, you made life worth a living. Like,
it's like you talk to someone.
What?
It's like talk to someone at the bus station and like they talk about, I don't know, oh yeah, I'm into Doctor Who, and it's like, oh, I'm into Doctor Who. And we talk about it, and it's like, I also like to chew my own toenails. You know, it's just like, oh, okay. Oh, I don't know.
Oh man. So yeah, that's an interesting bit. I'm curious. I don't know. Part of me is curious about what they're gonna do with this character. Where we're taking it at the same time. I don't know if I ever want to see any more again.
At this stage, if I just saw him randomly running naked towards Andor, trying to attack him, I'd be like, yeah, it's in character. Really think about it, you know. Oh, wow.
That's how it ends, right?
Yeah. This is like when Andor went to the Death Star. I was like, I'm guessing, no, I can't live like this. Yeah, because I was like, oh, maybe he'll join the rebels in some capacity and actually find real value rather than, no, he's kind of like Andy Serkis' character, as in he likes seeing structure and then going into it and being part of it. But unlike Andy Serkis, we see it at the end of this. Andy Serkis, when he sees the old man basically being put down because he had a big stroke, and you can see him and Andor looking at each other and suddenly go like, yeah, it doesn't matter how much I work here. It doesn't matter how much I try to control you. We're all here for life. We got to get out of here.
Yes. I mean, great. Yeah, that's a good example. Like the divergence here of two completely different characters that, again, yeah, you're seeing structure, but for two different reasons, right? Andy Serkis' character being structured to keep them alive.
Like you said, there's decency in him. There is. Like deep down, there is.
So then, we then seen what we have here at the ending was with the old man, and they ask for a medic, and he just comes along and goes, he's a stroke. We can't do anything. He's not fully dead yet.
The doctor is a prisoner as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it was like that adding to the whole just darkness of everything.
Is there a clerical prison focus? He did have a different uniform. Like, it was a blue uniform rather than an orange one. So do you think they just keep certain necessary, I don't know, accountants, doctors, computer scientists, and have a certain other uniform for them in a certain suite?
I'd be surprised. That would kind of make sense to, how do you forcing people to be there, and there you go. That's the knowing where their story is, right? Knowing what their skills are, and be like, all right, you're being suppressed, but you're going to be the doctor, for example, here, and you're serving your sentence here. In that regard, because you're going to need those kinds of things. But that was the fact of then when him saying up, he's had a stroke. And then there's no, okay, so we're going to get him to a med bay, and we're going to try to make him comfortable, or that even just saying, oh, he's too far gone. It's just flat out, he's had a stroke. All right, we're going to euthanize him.
They do mention, I will say this, he does mention, there's nothing left to save.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe the stroke.
Right, so insinuating, maybe completely it has.
Yeah.
But still, it's just, that's a leap. That's such a...
Again, bring him to a nice place, give him some decency. Even if the mind's gone, there is a human grace you need to follow. This is not just a modern idea. We buried our dead right back to the Stone Age here. This is what we do. But this is just this is one of those terrible days that when you go to the vet and your dog gets put down, and I don't want to get into the whole debate about how dogs should be treated the same and all that kind of stuff, but we see it's done so casually as a routine thing. I think that's a scary part of this, It
was exactly not only the leap, it's the leap to fact of euthanizing him like that, but it was like that. And just, he's there, he's lying on the floor. Andor and Kino, that's his name. Kino. That's Andy Serkis' name. Kino are there, supporting him. There's, and he's just like, well, he's gone. He's fried out from his stroke. We're just gonna and pop, just injects him. And he goes up. It's better this way than what would have. And he even comments, well, it's better he goes this way than what he would have had to suffer through.
Yeah.
But man, it's dehumanizing. Almost.
Well, it is dehumanizing. It's 100% dehumanizing. There's no almost about it. This is the whole thing of it.
The whole euthanizing him is one thing. It is if he's that far gone, then don't let him suffer anymore.
Yeah.
But you at least do it in a more respectful way. That was something. And as that scene was just something, because you had that. You had all of that going on of how they're treating the prisoners already.
Yeah.
And it was there that they learned officially that the guys were fried on that floor, right? That officially that somebody did try to leave, that they came back and they fried the whole floor of hundreds of prisoners. Now the reality of this place that verified right before their eyes and in words, just right there in their face.
It's very interesting to see, though, because, again, I want to mention that suicide that we saw in the first episode of Prison, of the man just who walked in and got shocked to death, and the prisoner's reaction to it, because I mentioned this a few times. They're just like, ugh, he's going to smell all night, and all this. It's an interesting take. The prisoners react to something that's close to them, in front of them, and just went, whatever. Because if you think about it, the shocking off the floor was a direct action by the prison to the prisoners. It was the Empire doing it to them, right? Killing the entire floor. Whereas arguably the man who committed suicide had a choice in this. This was a passive thing that the Empire had, and it was just shocked. It's an interesting take that even though something that was very far away, now suddenly wakes them up. And this, of course, it's a grander thing as well as an entire floor and all this. But I feel like when you see a death right in front of you, much like how we see the world, sadly, in general, we're more affected by the deaths that are close to us than the many deaths that are far away.
Right.
And to kind of quote Riker and Data from Star Trek, like Data makes a point saying, like, why am I so emotionally pressed by this death and not every other death that occurs? And Riker says that's just how humans are. He says, but shouldn't it be like that? Maybe it should. Maybe there'll be less wars and destruction, but human nature does seem to care a little bit more about deaths that are close to us. I suppose if it wasn't, we'd be devastated the whole time. But yeah, I felt like this show really deals with psychology. I dig it for that.
Yeah, and it's an excellent segue of speaking of psychology. One element that we saw, it was early in the episode, but again, adding to, good God, the darkness of the Empire and psychological warfare. We briefly touch upon Bix that Deidre has, imprisoned, right? And she set her up for interrogation. She's already thrown out there that they know that, that the man, Pac, had the radio. They know that it's to reach out to, Luthen, even though, they call it Axis, or to the man. But she wants to know more. Deidre knows that Bix is the only person that actually comes to use this radio.
Yeah.
So it's interesting, so she knows these details, but wants to know more, wants to try to find this guy.
And we didn't really talk about this last week. I just want to bring the quick scene that comes before the scene you mentioned. And she says, "Oh, don't move him." Says, "Oh, she's coming up. Don't move him yet." And
right, she
wants
him to
move her out of here. Move him out of here. She can't see. Like, to make a big plea. Look how fucked this person is. I don't even want you to see this. I'm on your side. Yeah.
Yeah, but then quickly she's just like, Deidre's just like, you better tell me everything, but Bix even, says, she goes, whatever I tell you, you're not going to believe me. So I'm still going to get tortured. Basically, she knows that, and she's like that coldness in Deidre just going like, yeah, you're right. All right, proceed. And that, what do they say? This Dr. Gorst that is specialized with this audio freak,
it's definitely just a headset with like kit bash stuff against it, right?
Yeah, exactly. but this whole thing of what the Dizonites, they call them, that make this sound when they die, that when the Empire went in to eradicate them, that they were playing audio to ensure that it was back to ensure we are doing the job of eradicating these people. And that they said, the sound was such that it made even the technicians were found huddled, underneath their desks or in the cupboard, whatever, because it affected them so badly. And now they've layered it and redone this, which with the sounds they believe that were of the children, like, God, they're just adding to this whole thing. And now it's redone, relayered, that it has another effect.
But I really love that story could have been nice. This could have been a synthesized thing. This could have been just the thing they made and a story that enforces it as well, they did some weird stuff.
It's believable either way. Which way they could they completely make that up, or did they really do that?
Hear about the Mandalorians crying as the planet is glass. But they did some weird thing with her eyes in the scene, like when she's like being tortured and the camera goes up to her eyes, like her. The iris grows and shrinks, not just the pupil.
I think they were like really showing like just how much it's messing with her.
I don't think that's possible. I don't think iris can just stretch up. But hey, maybe humans in that galaxy can. Who am I to say it? But yeah, very powerful scene. I really hope a lot of these characters. I hope we get a season 2. Honestly, at this stage, I want more of this kind of storytelling in Star Wars.
I'm digging this. And I think one last thing to throw out there, because it just, again, one more layer that they were adding in of later on. They talk about they've picked up a pilot, right? They believe it's a rebel pilot. The ISB has picked up, and again they use Dr. Gorst and got information out of him. And now, so then they talk about, oh well, shoot, but if we keep them, they're going to be alerted. They know something's up. So what do we do? How are we going to lure them in or whatever? Like, oh, kill the pilot, make it look like an accident, drift him into space.
They were just shooting off those suggestions like nothing.
Yeah. And then they're just like, great idea, let's do that. Yeah. And it was just casual, so casual. Yeah. Just like, we're just going to do, like, we're just casual problem solving.
This is not even anymore like a general going to the town says, make it happen. Just don't tell me. This is literally, all right, lads. Now, today we have to kill a pilot. How are we going to do it?
Exactly. Like the coldness, the casual coldness that they were showing on the ISB. Oh man, I was, when I say, man, I loved that. Not that I just love that.
Yeah, the whole the premise of it. Yeah, it's so.
Yeah, it's helping to bring yet more things about us. Just going, good God, these people are evil.
I don't think the movies or any media I can think of the top of my head has done a better job of showing how deeply cruel and nasty the Empire is in Star Wars.
Yeah,
it's. If anything you want to take away from the show, or people want to argue, you can't argue that. It's just this cold, sensical. Like, everything makes sense of what they're doing. Like, this is not irrational thinking of how they reason how to do these things. Like, the Empire is smart. No, we see some fuck-ups there and some, people who are brought up because they knew someone and all this kind of shit, but they are geniuses on the Empire side. Oh,
yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm very, very into, and I don't think we're going to be able to wrap up everyone's stories within the next 3 episodes. I hope we don't, because I want more of some of these stories,
Yeah. I agree. I think we've got, well, especially at the pacing they're going at, definitely won't be able to, but we'll see. I think they talked about, or Diego talked about at Celebration, I believe it was, when the show was, now when they were announcing about it to come out, and they talked a little bit more. He said there were hopes for season 2, and that it sounded like, that the way he described it, kind of like, I think they were trying to set it up for that. So, I think certainly they will leave things so that it can have a season 2, and I hope it does. I really hope it does get picked up. I've seen the rumors that it will, but I don't believe I've seen an official.
Yeah, I'll wait on the official one.
Disney has said it, until I see Disney saying them. I imagine they might, if they're doing, they'll just wait till the last episode, and then they'll be like, or the following day, and be like, for season 2.
Never take anything for granted. For example, like, completely unrelated, if anyone's a fan of The Sandman, like, only today or yesterday, Netflix officially confirmed the second season. Like I was waiting for it because I've seen something that, of course, it's going to happen, but just now, and I'm just like, holy fucking shit, Netflix! Like, at least Disney does multiple season stuff, I guess, and they give things a chance. But folks, don't take anything for granted. Unless it's the official distributor announcing it, it ain't happening. Treat it like that.
Shoot, until the actual episode, movie, whatever it is, comes out. Don't trust it. No, as we see, things can be finished and still get canceled. So until it's actually out, that's how you wait.
Do you think we'll ever get the Batgirl movie? Do you think it'll slip out somewhere? Like, someone's going to just drop it on a drive somewhere?
I would not be surprised for it to finally slip out somehow, because if it truly is done like that, it's gonna come out. There's
like creators who've been part of that.
This ain't government secrets, This is gonna get slipped.
Yeah. I mean, I could even imagine the studio itself doing it just to gauge stuff, But,
I mean, Yeah, that's a discussion for another day. The things that Warner Brothers Discovery, now that they're called, that they're doing is just,
Yeah.
But
That's
as someone who just saw, I will say, a discussion for another day is DC, and much like I just saw Black Adam the other weekend. And I certainly have some opinions on that and the WB-ness going on there.
Yeah, we'll have that for another day, because I think we're running short on time for both our sides. So I think this has been a great review. I might say so ourselves. We had some good conversations in there, but folks, let us know what you thought about some of our point of views. Let us know about recasting. Let us know if you still enjoy Andor. Is it too slow for you? Is it too dour? Is the main character just not charismatic enough? I've heard being said. I'm confused by people like that, but let us know. And look, have a good one. Bye-bye.
Bye.